Are they, in fact, worried about what response there might be from Washington?
We don't know whether it's going to go ahead or not. I expect President Erdogan to respond tomorrow in his weekly address to his caucus in Parliament. I wouldn't be surprised if we heard a lot of bluster, if he gives Trump hell in the name of Turkish nationalism. But then, afterwards, if he quietly does something else. You know, Erdogan's priority right now is not invading Syria. It's the local elections at the end of March. And if Erdogan goes head-to-head with Trump, and Trump provokes an economic crisis in Turkey, as he very nearly did in August and September, then Erdogan's party will lose a lot of votes.
Jasper, thank you very much indeed, as always, for your analysis. Jasper Mortimer there in Ankara. Well, Kate Moody is here with the business. Hi there, Kate. And you're going to talk us through what's at stake economically if ties continue to worsen between the United States and Turkey.
Absolutely, because all of this, of course, stems from that tweeted threat from Donald Trump about devastating Turkey's economy. The latest round of tensions saw the Turkish lira drop slightly on Monday, still far from the plunge that was seen in August when Washington and Ankara threatened sanctions and tariffs. So, just how exposed is Turkey's economy? Shona Bhattacharya has been finding out.
Turkey is not a top U.S. trading partner. It stands in 65th place. In 2018, the U.S. imported more from Turkey than it exported for the first time since 2006. That Turkish trade surplus with the world's biggest economy was one of the few sources of good news for the Middle Eastern country. The impact of Donald Trump's latest threat could hit Turkey hard.
The threat of economic sanctions, in particular trade sanctions, can affect the financial markets. Turkey is a country that needs to borrow in foreign currency, so a faltering economy, a currency crisis for the Turkish lira will affect its ability to reimburse.
As it is, the economy is in shambles. In 2018, the lira lost more than 28% against the dollar. Overall inflation stood at over 20%. Official rates for 2018 have yet to be published, but the World Bank estimates Turkey's year-on-year growth to stand at 3.5% and expects the bleaker forecast for next year at 1.6%. In 2017, that rate stood at close to 7.5%. Meanwhile, economic ties with the U.S. nosedived in 2018 as well in August in retaliation for the ongoing incarceration of U.S. pastor Andrew Brunson. Sanctions slapped at the time against two top Turkish government officials were canceled when he was released. Other sanctions, however, still stand, with U.S. consumers paying double tariffs on imports of Turkish aluminum and steel.
A major Italian bank was forced to halt trading of its shares this Monday after a warning from European regulators about its future. The European Central Bank told Monte dei Paschi di Siena that it should shore up its security against bad loans and take stock of funding and profitability risks. The bank's shares slid 8.5% before being suspended. Italy's oldest lender has been struggling to stay afloat and restructure despite a bailout last year. Let's check in on the rest of the day's trading action now. Broadly lower across the board as weak trade data from China sparked fears of a global slowdown. Stocks in Milan were pulled down by the banking sector. Technology shares weighed down trade too. Currency markets, especially the pound sterling, will be tuning into tomorrow's Brexit vote in the UK. Wall Street's in the red as well as earnings season kicks off. Corporate profits rose rapidly for most of 2018. Investors will be looking to see if the fourth quarter figures wrap up the year on a similar high note. Citigroup among the first to report. Its shares are up 4% actually, as revenue missed on expectations, but the bank said it had slimmed down its staff salaries. Moving on to some of the day's other business headlines now. Carlos Ghosn's wife has written to Human Rights Watch asking them to shine a light on what she described as her husband's harsh treatment in a Japanese jail. Carol Ghosn alleged that her husband is being denied his medication and being held in an unheated cell. The auto titan has been under arrest for nearly 2 months on allegations of financial misconduct as head of the Renault-Nissan car-making alliance. The Pacific Gas and Electric Company is planning to file for bankruptcy in the U.S. The utility group says it has struggled to cope with the unexpected cost of lawsuits linked to last year's deadly wildfire in California. It's facing more than $7 billion in claims for its role in starting that blaze. Its shares crashed 50% on Monday. They've already wiped out 80% of their value in the past 3 months. And Qualcomm's trial continues in California. U.S. authorities have accused the software maker of anti-competitive practices to ensure that its chips were needed and used in most smartphones. Qualcomm has denied the charges. On Monday, a top Apple executive took the stand, saying the tech giant wanted to use parts by both Qualcomm and its rival Intel in its latest models, but that Qualcomm would not supply them under those conditions. The Detroit Motor Show is kicking off, and there's a lot riding on its success. This year is the last time the North American International Auto Show will be held in January. From next year, it will be held in June as organizers try to revive the event. With the market contracting and uncertainty lying ahead, the mood is somber. Most German automakers are skipping the event altogether. Nicholas Rushworth reports.
Concerns over the health of the global economy and the US-China trade war is looming over Detroit's auto show. While a number of announcements are expected, including an anticipated strategic alliance between Ford and Volkswagen, there are fewer automakers and new car unveilings, making it more subdued than usual.
We're in a transition in the industry. We've had a great run of strong car sales over the last decade or so. We're probably going to have a dip in the next couple of years. At the same time, the auto companies have to focus on today's business to generate profits so they can finance a future that's going to be very different.
General Motors kicked off the car unveilings with its Cadillac XT6, a vehicle in line with similar SUVs from competing car makers. The company, however, plans to cut 15,000 jobs and halt production at 5 plants in North America.
The transformation is difficult, and there's always, when you're moving from something to something else, there's dislocations that need to be managed, and we're doing our very best to do that.
In a sign of the times, key German car makers Audi, BMW and Mercedes are absent in Detroit, preferring to reveal their latest technology at other events. The show is currently open to industry insiders only. The public get their first peek at what's hot in the American auto industry from Saturday.
Airports in Miami and Houston have been forced to close security checkpoints as the U.S. government shutdown drags on. Employees of the Transport Security Administration, or TSA, are among those who've been working without pay since December 22nd. A spokesman in Miami said TSA workers were calling in sick at double the normal rate, and travelers across the country are being urged to leave more time in order to clear security, as fewer workers could mean longer lines of